All right, welcome in everybody. Jason, TCP Supersystem. Welcome into our Friday night crypto rapid fire session. Again, this is where we go through all of our monitored cryptos. We put it through the TCP Supersystem. We discuss the system signals interpretations, maybe what could happen. Again, none of that's financial advice. Only share this with you because I built it and I want to share it, not because I have to. Again, what this system does is help me identify opportunity zones in cryptos and stocks, and it's done a phenomenal job. And it took me 2 to 3 years to build it. But again, my actions, my interpretations, my trades, the system itself, none of it's financial advice. Only do it for informational, educational purposes only. Consult a licensed advisor before making any trades. All right, so and again, if you want original TA content you can't get anywhere else, this is the channel for you. Please like, share, subscribe, hit that bell. Again, this is not your basic MACD RSI stuff. This is a system I built based on mean reversion, standard deviation methodologies, trending momentum indicators, or price action kind of indicators. And again, for those that may be new, at the top up here, you're going to see our standard deviation and mean reversion methodologies, our main indicator, which is where we see a lot of the trend reversals and kind of price action indicators. And then the three at the bottom are our hot sensors, which when combined with all three of these sections does a remarkable job. So, and I'll show you some of that today. All right, so we're going to start again with Bitcoin, and this is, I'll probably stop along the way, but this should be rather fast. We'll have some more targeted one-on-one videos for individual cryptos and stocks later, but this is going to be pretty much I won't say quick kind of click through, but pretty fast. You're going to notice there's a lot of commonalities between these charts. On the left is your daily, on the right is the weekly. So we'll discuss those along the way. So let's go. So Bitcoin here trading at 111,000. So we've seen a little bit of nice movement to the upside the last day or so. So it's been pretty nice. But right now, Bitcoin, you can see the only real thing I'll tell you is this. If you go back and look at the video we did maybe a day or two ago, maybe earlier, maybe even this past weekend. Uh, a lot of these charts, this is gonna be the commonality that you see. You have this downward pump or drop, a retracement back to the cloud. That's generally an area of volatility, and we've said that in our videos. I don't ever trade when the price action's in the cloud because I mean it could skyrocket, it could crash on you. And we're right in between multiple moving averages here. So again, very volatile here. Got some resistance, got some support. So really no telling which way this thing can go. But I will say, and this is going to be common on a lot of these charts as well. You see up here in our standard deviation methodologies, a lot of these are going to be like this. But that white fast line has now penetrated up into those extremes, which is very good. And we just need that orange line, which is the second, I guess, fastest if you want to call it that. I'm trying to keep it common language for people to understand, but that orange line, if it gets penetrating up through that green zone with that white line remaining up in these extremes, and if that doesn't roll over, could be off and running. And the only reason I say that is because we've identified some opportunity zones on Bitcoin to the downside and upside. So on the downside, we could see as low as 100 to 102,000 in our opinion. Again, not financial advice. But on the upside, somewhere around that 128 to 130 mark would be a high level of leverage, which if it pumps to 128 to 130, you can see a lot of people having to cover, which could even pump it higher. So I think that could be where we get a top for this cycle. You know, if that creates a bunch of position covering, then could see that thing pump up there to 140, 150. We'll see. But right now, I would not be taking any action from my own portfolio just because of where the price action is currently, and that's in the cloud, and that's just not. We got some resistance. Probably have some resistance here at 115ish around these moving averages. But so just kind of no man's land. But again, starting to look decent here. So yeah. XRP, again, you can see it actually has now penetrated back above the cloud, but again, we should be hitting some resistance here shortly. Again, same similar standard deviation chart. Orange line isn't quite that green zone. We are starting to see some improvement in the hot sensors. If that white transitions to the upside of that midline on the short term and medium term, yeah, I don't know. Again, all I can say is we've got our upper targets identified now for XRP at about 308 to 323. So again, that'd be a nice little pump up there. There's some leverage up there. So again, that could create another kind of just like Bitcoin. So pay attention here. But I will share this with you. On the downside, we've got a second opportunity zone identified for XRP around $1.50. And that just so happens to be right around the 100-day moving average. Remarkable how that works. And that's all based on leverage as well. So it's very interesting, right? So again, right around this cloud and right around this resistance level, be careful. But this white line could easily turn over, and these still haven't reached that break point higher yet. So again, kind of no man's land here. So that's XRP. HBAR, again, that's not even as good as the last two. We're at the bottom of the cloud. That's always an area of volatility, likely lower. And we are starting to get some diamonds on the weekly, so that's something good to note. Those are level 1 diamonds. We have 3 levels of diamonds. The higher the number, the better. So level 1 here, again, all 3 hot sensors on the daily chart view are below the midline. So I certainly don't think we're ready yet here on HBAR. Again, HBAR is one of those projects from a token standpoint is our largest position, not from a dollar standpoint. I will say that we do not ever sell XRP or HBAR. We only accumulate when these opportunity zones present themselves. So again, this would not be an area where I would be dollar cost averaging in or lowering my price points just because I don't think it's ready yet. But so that's Bitcoin, XRP, HBAR. Look at Aave, same kind of thing. Cardano. So Cardano, we did put out a video the other day. We think there's a price pump coming here. And again, the chart looks really similar to XRP and Bitcoin. Again, you can see that white line has actually already penetrated up through that red zone, going toward those extremes. We just need that to pull that orange line into that green zone. If both of those things happen, and we continue to see improvement here in the hot sensor on the short term, I think we're looking at probably that 90 to 95 cent range for Cardano. And again, we're holders of Cardano for transparency. We did have a level 2 diamond back here on the roughly, October 11th? Yep. So on October 11th, we did have a level 2 when these standard deviation methodologies were down here in the lower extremes. So that would have been a great point. But that was that scam wick we saw. So that would have been really hard to hit. That was one day. But again, you saw that retracement to the cloud and that downward movement. It's bouncing right in our opportunity zone. I mean, this is what we've identified based on leverage. So again, that was basically let's just say 60 cents to 58 to 62 cents. So we've kind of nailed that a couple times here. And again, 90 to 95 cents on the upside here. So that's, roughly 50% higher. So not too bad if we can pull that off. Again, not financial advice there, but do what you want to do. Arrow. Yeah, same kind of deal. We don't look at those two. API 3. Nah. Algorand. Similar chart, so not going to really talk through that other than we are starting to get some level 1s on the weekly chart. So something just to watch as this continues to materialize. We should be getting some opportunities soon. Again, all 3 below the midline over here on the hot sensor. So not really ready yet on Algo. Aptos. You will notice on Aptos, I jumped the gun a little early here, but we got in at 451. And I don't care that it's at 329 currently. But you will see, bouncing right in or right off the top of that opportunity zone, we had a level 2. And then we also have a new Opportunity zone identified to the upside here on Aptos at roughly 535 to 570. So that's a nice, that would be a pretty nice return there. But again, look at what you see, that downward pump or dump, and then that retracement back to the cloud. That's an area of volatility. So this is where you're in no man's land. It could very easily pump up to these other moving averages back to 422. It could easily continue lower into this opportunity zone. But look at this. This one's looking a little stronger. So this white line's almost straight vertical, approaching those extremes. But again, that orange line is not really following. And a lot of times what you'll see is that white line will just turn right on over and it'll come right on back down and this thing will drag out. And that's where you'll get these kind of, these opportunity zones in this price action will trend in here a little sideways to downward, and it'll probably hit in these opportunity zones multiple times. But so we gotta watch this orange line here. If it starts creeping up into that green zone and above that, then we're probably off and running, and that's where you could probably see those upper targets. So pay attention to that. And again, on the weekly here, so this is why this is important. And again, you can get multiple level 3 diamonds. You usually don't see a whole lot, but maybe a cluster of maybe, let's just say 2 to 4. Clearly, we see that a lot. But we got our level 3 here on the weekly chart on Aptos, followed up by a level 2 right around our opportunity zone. So that, and it's a red, our medium hot sensor, that is red. So long term, I would say this is probably an awesome area of opportunity. Again, if you look at our short-term daily charts, we're not really in the red over here. So we would like, and that's why I think when you put these two together, this is why I do this now, because this is where it can be really remarkable. And you're probably not going to find anyone else really giving you these targets because they're most likely never right. But if you go back and look at our videos, we nail these price action targets a lot. And the videos speak for themselves. So if you appreciate that and you get value from it, please like, share, subscribe. I'm doing this for free because I want to. And, we're a small channel. I don't really care if it grows to be astronomical, but I do appreciate the support, the engagement. And again, if you want us to look at anything individually, like in terms of any particular crypto that we're not monitoring or stocks, put those in the comments. I'll try to make a video if I can or cover it in one of my other ones. Just can't make any promises, but I will try. Excuse me. Let me get some water. So that's Aptos. Again, I would like to see some downward movement here, where we can get some red in these hot sensors on the daily view, coupled with the red over here on the weekly. That could be really special. So that's what I'm looking for there. And again, if it comes any lower, I'm probably looking at deploying some additional capital just to lower that cost base. So that's the only real thing that I would be looking for on Aptos, is just the ability to lower that dollar cost that down a little bit. So that's Aptos. Arbitrum. Whew. Look at that. Nice little scam wick down, created a level 3 diamond on that one that day, followed up by another level 3 diamond. Then we got the retracement back, came back down a little bit, just like we always tell you. And again, all this looks the same. We've got the opportunity zones identified on this low end on Arbitrum at roughly 25 cents to 29 cents. Upper side, 48 cents to roughly 52 cents. So that's where we're playing here. We're just, again, in no man's land in that cloud. We do got some level 2s on the weekly in the red down here in the medium hot sensor. But again, the daily is not lining up. What we found recently is when the daily hot sensors and the weekly hot sensors line up and they're all red and you got level 2s and 3s, special stuff. So we're close here, but I just don't think we're out of the woods yet on some of this stuff. And if you look at people like Jake Claver and the Digital Outlook channel, they do a lot of fundamental macro stuff, and there's some pretty outlandish price targets on XRP and some of these tokens. So we could very well be near a bottom. I just don't think we're quite there yet, and I think there's a lot of volatility to come. So pay attention. Let's see here. Excuse me one second. Sorry about that. Atom, let's see what we're doing for Cosmos here. Our Atom is the token symbol, but it's getting interesting. Similar situation. However, on Atom, we've got level 2s and 2 of our hot sensors are red, so that's actually a little even, I'd say worse, but when I say worse, it's better for when you're trying to get into something. But this looks even more opportunistic than the last one. The only thing we would be wanting to see here is maybe the short-term one getting into the yellow, orange, and red, with maybe a level 3 there, kind of like we saw back here. So that's what we would be looking for there. And again, on the daily, we're hitting that volatility zone, so be careful there. Avalanche. This is one we really like, and I'll give you my top 10 in a little bit, or top whatever it's going to be. I'll give you a list of my top projects that I really think will be special. But again, on Avalanche is in that list, and we had a level 3 back here on that scam wick, of course, retracement back up. Now back down into our opportunity zone. Again, for Avalanche, we're looking at 18 to, let's just say 18 to 20 would be great entry points at this point. And then 31 to 32 is our upper end targets. Now, this one doesn't look quite as good. Our white line is not even penetrated up through the green zone yet. So this one probably still has a little downward action to go, I would think. Even though we're really close here with the leverage, I just think this doesn't look really strong at all. So yeah, this one I would be delaying any type of action for the next probably a couple of days. We'll see what the weekend holds here, but yeah, this is not ready yet. But again, just opinion. I'm a crazy guy on the internet with one hell of a system. That's all. So I'm not an advisor. Same thing for BNB. It's in the volatility zone there. For you meme coin lovers, here's bonky donk is what I call it. Same thing. So I'll skip it. Centrifuge. I'm telling everybody, this is my sleeper. I don't know why. I just have a weird feeling this could be something special before it's over. Again, I think I may be out of all my centrifuge at the moment, or I may just have a little bit. But yeah, that's again same kind of volatility position here. Improving on our standard deviation and mean methodology, so it looks like it's starting to strengthen, but just not ready yet. Doge, same. Polkadot, same. Ethereum, just look at Ethereum here. So Ethereum, I'll just call out. We nailed the top zones up here with these level 3s, right? You see all these level 3s up here. And that's when everything, this is what I'm talking about, red. And you can see on the daily chart on the left where that same position. I mean, we had red on the long term, orange or red pretty much. Everything was red but the short term hot sensor. So that's what we're really looking for stuff like this. Same thing on the downside. We're looking for those level 3 diamonds like we saw back here on this weekly chart. I mean, look at that. That cluster of level 3s, you ride that to the level of cluster 3s on the upside. It's that easy. And that's why it took me 2 to 3 years to figure all this out. And I mean, you're talking about basically $1,750 to, let's just say, $4,700. So that's one hell of a return. But so that's how we do this. So now things look like they're getting a little weaker. You know, we do have some zones here for Ethereum at 3,400 to 3,500, and on the upside 48 to 49 basically. So and again we've retraced back into that cloud, which is an area of volatility. So no man's land here on Ethereum. I still think you're going to see some rotation out of Ethereum ETFs back into the XRP and HBAR and these other ETFs that are coming. So wouldn't be surprised to see some continued weakness on Ethereum. Sorry, man. Throat's dry tonight. Good gracious. Sorry. We have to go get some water. Filecoin. Ooh. Hang on a second. Let's see here. Okay, so this is getting pretty close here. So on the weekly on Filecoin, we're starting to get our cluster of level 3s. Approaching that opportunity zone, which is around the 125 to 130 mark. You know, we're at 156 right now. So we're really close. You know, obviously, if we're getting level 3s now, if it hits our opportunity zone, it's probably definitely going to be a level 3. Red and red, medium and long term on the weekly. Yellow on the medium and long term on the daily, so that could deteriorate a little bit more. So and that goes yellow, orange, red. So if we start hitting orange and red on the daily, coupled with orange or red on the weekly, with level 3s, and most likely level 2s or 3s on the daily, yeah, Filecoin could be special. But I was reading something on Filecoin with, you know, basically being decentralized storage. The competition from those like AWS and other big behemoths in that space, you know, I think that's why it's really dumped. You know, could that be just a failing project over time? Possibly. But again, I don't know. That would be tough. I'd have to really look at that hard when that opportunity hits here shortly. I don't have any Filecoin right now. But there does appear to be some opportunity coming. So we'll revisit that one for sure. Goldfinch. Uh-oh. Look at old Goldfinch. So we're getting a level 3 here on Goldfinch on the weekly, orange and red on the short term and medium term hot sensor. I guess there's not enough data for the long term on the weekly view, but on the short term, you know, we're orange, yellow, gray. Yeah. What I would expect to see here, the orange line on the weekly will most likely make it down to these extremes. And again, you can see that white line on our daily, that the standard deviation methodologies, it still hasn't penetrated through the green yet. So still below that cloud. So yeah, still some weakness here, but likely some opportunity incoming. The graph. Again, level 2s on the weekly, red and red. Got some opportunity zones here for the graph on the bottom side at 4.5 cents roughly to 4.5 cents to 5 cents. On the upside, we're looking at roughly 8 to 9. So that's, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you're talking about almost 90, 80 to 100% return there. So keep that in mind. It doesn't take a big move on some of these to make a really nice return. Helium. Skip that one. Jupiter. Jupiter. So Jupiter's looking okay. We hit a level 3 here on the weekly. We're still below the cloud with a confirmed downtrend, so I don't really like that. We're not really in any kind of overheated spot here. We're just in the gray zone here. On the daily view, we have penetrated into those extremes, which is what we want to see, but that orange line hasn't quite made it. Let's zoom out here. Hope y'all can see that. That orange line needs to be getting between these two zones. If that happens, this could get interesting. We're probably going to have some resistance around the 44, 45 cent mark. But if that, and then what I would most likely expect to see if it does hit that would be hit that orange line, retrace back to the top of the cloud, and then it could most likely resume higher. But again, this one doesn't have any opportunity zones identified. But it's actually has penetrated up through the cloud. So that's the first sign of some positive movement here with level threes on the weekly. So probably not a bad spot, to be honest. You can see the same level basically. It was where we had some clusters over here of level three as well. And that was back on March 31st. Now we're in October and we're at the same level, hitting the level threes again. Typically that's a triple bottom right there, right? So triple bottoms usually go that way. So watch it. That is Jupiter. That's on the Solana blockchain. Chainlink, one of our top tokens for the years to come. We do have Chainlink. However, I would consider this no man's land on Chainlink in the volatility zone, right at support, right at resistance here. So either way, again, we have identified opportunity zones for Chainlink, being 14 to basically 15, and then basically 23 to say 24. So that's probably what I would be looking at here. Again, it's in the volatility zone, so just not quite ready yet. You don't see anything red over here. We did hit the top here on the weekly on Chainlink. We did hit level 3 diamonds here back on August 11th. Then there's your downturn. So again, absolutely crushed it there. When it was red, red, and red. So again, it's that easy, ladies and gentlemen. I try to bring this to you for free for a reason. That's all I do. Maker. Skip Maker. I think it looks like it's in a downtrend. So near. So again, you can see us. We're in it near at 282. So yeah, we are down. It's 224, which is fine. But these are ones I just didn't want to miss. So probably jumped the gun, but that's okay. Again, things are deteriorating here. Looks like we're about to get a crossover to a confirmed downtrend, so I wouldn't really want to do anything here on the daily. We're in the volatility zone, so yeah, I wouldn't pull the trigger here, even from me to dollar cost lower. And again, I'll probably be looking. Well, we might be getting close though. 207 here, so another 20 cents. We're probably looking at a clusters of level 3 here, which is what we got back in March for near. So might see that again here in a minute. So we'll see, but just not quite yet. Ondo, one of our favorite ones for the future. Again, we continue to dollar cost on Ondo. Obviously, tokenization play, Biddle Fund with BlackRock, whatever. You can go do your research. Same chart, volatility zone. Things don't look overly too weak, so probably still. Hell, that may still come down some more. I would love to get onto at 50 cent. At 50 cent, I will dollar cost my price down. That would be too good to pass up, and that may be a large chunk. Yeah, I'm gonna need to watch that one. Optimism. Starting to show some potential here. We got level 3s on the weekly again, red zone, daily just in the volatility zone. Looks like 40 cents roughly is where we're going to see some support, so we'll watch that level. This just isn't quite ready again on optimism. Pith, not worth talking about. Render, not worth talking about. Solana, one of our top picks for the next 5-10 years. If you don't know what fire dancer is, go look it up. So you can see on Solana, we nailed that top, crushed it. It's come down, hit off our opportunity zone again and support levels here. This is what we want to see. The orange hasn't quite made it in the volatility zone, so still wouldn't trade Solana even at this level. I would love for it to come back to about the 175 mark. That'd be fantastic. And I'd have to look at what's going on there. But again, look at this level 3. It's good gracious. Level 3 cluster down here about the, let's just call it 114. Now you'd be back up here all the way, it went all the way to 230, 240 almost. And you can actually see 240 was where we got out. Or, yeah, well, there it was, 240, the green line. That's where we got out. Now we're right back at it basically on the weekly. So it's an interesting spot, but still the daily doesn't look good enough for me to go back in yet. But that's Solana. I'm going to skip a few of these. SWI, not yet. Uniswap, same kind of level 3s on the weekly, just not quite ready yet. World Liberty Financial. All right, guys. So this one, this one, starting to become interesting. I originally told myself I would be in at 16 cents when it was up here trading around 20. I felt like it was going to drop. Told several friends that. We had the scam wick day where we got the level 3s, which came all the way down to 8 cents. Of course, I didn't get it on that, but now you can see we're back in the cloud. I can't do it in the cloud. I stick to the system and my beliefs. I never trade in the cloud. Rarely will I do that. So I would like it to come back down to at least the top of this opportunity zone, about 11 cents. And then I would probably be willing to pull the trigger for my own portfolio. Again, not financial advice there. And then on the upper side, we're looking at 17 to 20. So again, that would almost be a 100% return there. And if they get, as things begin to become tokenized over time, I mean, this could be a big one. Obviously, the Trumps are behind it. They're big crypto fans, probably going to make positive legislation. So likely going to do well. That's just opinion, but watching it for sure. But not in it yet. What else do we want to go over? XDC. Yeah, it's not ready yet. XLM. Not ready yet. Let's go look at Metaplanet, our stock pick for the next decade. You can see, I mean, this is one hell of a cluster here. Level 3 diamonds on the weekly. We're starting to see some positive movement. You can see the 284 here. We called out the green line. We had a red down here on the medium. Red over here on the short term, on the long term view. So this is starting to look interesting. White line's penetrating up through the red zone. Orange just needs to get just a little bit higher. And we can see some movement here. Metaplanet. I would be calling for over 100x on this one. Excuse me. That's just my opinion. Again, not financial advice. I am not a stock analyst. I have a system that helps me identify these zones. That's a Bitcoin proxy. I think it's now the 4th largest Bitcoin corporate treasury out there. Metaplanet being, Strategy being number 1. So watch Metaplanet, Japanese stock. STKE, Sol Strategies, again, Sol Treasury Company for Solana. Again, we got in at 480, so we kind of got in early there, which is fine. We had some level 2s, but that was so new to TradingView, we didn't even have any data. So you never, if you don't have the data, it's really hard to make a good informed decision. But, I still think long term this could be remarkable. And you can see we only bought 103 shares there. So it really wasn't anything special. This is the series that we're making for the portfolio series we're making, where our goal is to take $500 and transform it into 100,000 and do it however long it takes. I'm either going to lose it or turn it into 100,000. Could take a year, could take 4 years. I don't know, but that is the goal. And that was the first purchase. So obviously we're down on it for the moment, but as Solana begins to tick up with tokenization and all these other things, we'll see where we go there. We'll likely add more to that, but we'll see. Starting with 500 on that portfolio. And I want to show y'all. Go back and look at the video the other day. I called this one out specifically. This was USAS, America's Gold and Silver Corp. That red line 420 is where I was really, really telling a few people I know to get out. It did pump to $5, but now tanked. Well, it actually tanked below it. Now it's back right underneath it. So we'll see where it goes. But you can see level threes over here on the weekly. Red, red, red. It was red, red over here on the daily. We were getting extreme price action. Means it's over kind of too far too fast. So that is a perfect example of when to run, right? So that is what we look for in stocks and cryptos. And we were in the yellow in the short term too. If that was red, that would have just been the absolute perfect setup, but didn't quite make it on the short term there. But everything else was red. Um, so that was it. Um, yeah. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was the Friday night crypto rapid fire. I know I promised this at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I do apologize. It is now 10:38. So we'll be wrapping this up, getting this posted out there on YouTube. Again, if you like original content, TA, cryptos, and stocks you can't get anywhere else, please like, share, subscribe if you find value. I bring you my system that I built for free. Can't find this anywhere else. Again, Jason, TCP Supersystem. Hope everyone has a blessed weekend. Be safe. Just know there's some opportunities incoming here. Be prepared. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.